Hello everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me, Manu?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
great. Yeah, I can hear, I can hear. Hello everyone. Thank you for having us today again, or for being here. Actually, today is good. Today is going to be another exciting day. Another Saturday live stream. For for us, to, explore something cool and do something exciting live. Um. Yeah, without further ado, we're just going to dive in. We're looking at MCP today, some more AI agents and AI focused stuff. Introductions. I'm Tobiloba and I'm a software engineer and developer relations engineer at Gaia. Excited to be here to build today. So this is going to be a really fun episode, honestly, because we're like exploring something cool and we'll build some cool stuffs out of it. Today, right to the right side of my screen is Manu.
Yeah, yeah. Good day, everyone. My name is Emmanuel, software engineer, open source builder, and yeah, I love streaming. So today we'll be doing more AI agent stuff. Um, Majorly focusing on MCPs today. So I hope this one is going to be good because I'm like looking forward to it because I have a lot I want to know about MCPs. So hopefully we're able to like cover enough and learn alongside. So yeah, excited for this one.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, let's dive in, I guess. There's nothing really let's dive in. So what is MCP? Like if you're in the audience and maybe you've been wondering what MCP is, why it's trending. I think we sort of ended on this the last stream or the one we talked about AI agents. So I'm like talking about what MCP is, why it's why anyone should even care about it and why it's kind of matters, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sharing my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Give me 1 second. Okay, great. So MCP. You've probably heard about it around. Maybe you've seen some companies sort of pivot from doing their whatever the offerings they currently have to like more MCP stuff and them creating more them sort of like talking about, okay, yeah, we have an MCP server for this. You can use this with your AI agents and stuff like that. MCP is cool because it's a protocol, like it says on their website. It's an open protocol that standardizes how applications provide context to LLMs. So MCP is like you think of it like a dongle for your laptop, or if you use a MacBook, or if you use a laptop that uses Type C's, that has mostly Type C's around it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with that dongle, you're able to connect to like multiple like devices, maybe USB, HDMI, and all of them sort of like interact directly with your application, with your computer itself
Yeah.
as one, like as if they were directly plugged to your PC, but all of them were actually plugged to the dongle that you then plug to your computer. So I think of your computer in this case as the LLM, any LLM you know of, uh, be it Llama, be it Mistral, be it Quen, any LLM you can think of, that would be your computer in this scenario. And then you sort of have that dongle being able to that is connected to your computer, be like MCP itself, and the things you are connecting to your computer themselves are like say MCP servers or they are just applications that are using the MCP the model context protocol to sort of interact directly with your machine. So yeah,
So it's sort of like a
standard.
connector, if you would,
Yeah, it's
kind of
that's
like
all it
plug
is,
it.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is, honestly. So it's just a protocol. Like we have HTTP or we have HTTPS or TCP or something. So like
Yeah.
it's a protocol on its own too. It
Right.
follows like client server architecture. You build an MCP server, you have an MCP client. Your MCP client has to be built into like your LLM, your LLM's provider. Maybe you have an MCP host that's embedded in your LLM provider, so that when you build a server for your MCP use case, your client is able to understand and deduce what your server is telling the client. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's pretty much how MCP works. And then your LLM
Yeah.
just takes data from whatever your MCP server gives to the client, and it understands that, okay, yeah, this is what, maybe you ask it for weather, or you ask it for the location of a place, and it gives you a latitude and longitude back from the server. The
Mm-hmm.
MCP client puts it in a way that the LLM would understand. So the LLM works with that data that comes back, then it gives you a response in a human readable form. So yeah, pretty much how MCP works, and like as an overview.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. That makes a lot of sense. What's the full meaning of MCP? I think we
Model
covered.
context protocol. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
model
It
text,
was
and
it
it's
was
been
built by, yeah.
yeah. Honestly, and it's been there for a while. I think
MCP came
people.
out like last year, or last 2 years or something. The time that computer use came out too. Remember that time computer use was trending when Claude
Yeah,
released computer use, yeah. So I think that was around that time MCP sort of came out, that they created it. It's from the Anthropic universe.
yeah, from the
Um
Anthropic thing.
yeah. So
Mm,
yeah, you can use it to integrate it, data tools, um, the integrations that your LLM can directly plug in, flexibility to switch between LLM providers and vendors, best practices for
mhm.
securing your data within your infrastructure. This is the general architecture of MCP, like I was talking about. So you have your host with your MCP client. It could be Claude, it could be your ID like Cursor, or something that has an MCP client within
Yeah,
it. The MCP protocol connects the server to your client. MCP protocol connects, so it's client server, client server, client server, client server. So the server itself
yeah.
can have a data source, say DB. So all of this is mostly what we already do in web. So the architecture is very similar to how you would have like a backend and a front end with a DB
Content
sort of vibe.
interacting. Yeah.
Yeah. Just that in this case you may just be using what's it called? You'll be working with like an LLM, AI stuff, instead of like you building like a simple application or something. So yeah,
Yeah.
they did a deep dive into each one. So programs like Cloud Desktop, IDs, or AI tools that want to access data through MCP. You have your MCP clients, protocol clients that maintain one-on-one connections with servers. Lightweight programs that MCP server, lightweight programs that each expose specific capabilities through the standardized model context protocol. Local data
Mm-hmm.
sources, your computer files, databases, and services that MCP servers can securely access. So think of MCP servers as like backend servers that sort of use the MCP, that sort of are able to interact with MCP. So most of the things you can do with a typical backend, you can do with an MCP server. So
So
yeah.
in this case, the database instance would be like the LLM, right? Which is like
No, no,
where
no. No, no. The
or
database would be like an actual database.
oh okay. So the LLM now, where does it come in this picture?
Oh, it stays in the MCP host.
Oh okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
that's the
where you
MCP
have
host.
like
Exactly.
oh okay, makes sense. Makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
So then remote services, external systems available via the internet, e.g. through APIs, the MCP servers can also connect to it. So yeah, you can build an MCP server, MCP client, or yeah, you can also build it for like cloud desktop. That's what most people use test MCP servers with. Anyways, like if you build like your own MCP server, you can easily test it with like the cloud desktop. So example servers and example clients you can look at also, and the
Mhm.
tutorials of like building MCP with LLMs here, and the working guide, MCP inspector also. So what do you think we should start with, Manu? We already kind of explored, how the protocol works and
Yeah.
everything.
I think a good starting point is to look at how to set up an MCP client, right? That would be good because I will be able to see how exactly all those
Oh, a
connections will be done.
client.
Yeah,
A client or a server?
I don't know. I think it says client, MCP client. That was like the first. Was it the first one I saw?
Which one?
Um,
Well,
yeah, scroll up. I scroll up. Or was it MCP host?
yeah, host
Yes,
is.
yes, yes. But we don't
Okay,
have to do.
so
Do we have to do this? Because I'm guessing this one would be like maybe a part of like a software or something
no, no,
that
no,
already
no.
has.
We don't have to do this. I already have like I have Cloud Desktop that we can use to test, but we can also
Oh,
build our own client also by following like one of their tutorials or something.
oh, okay,
So we just
definitely.
see how it works. Yeah. All right, bet.
Mhm.
Okay, so for client dev, so now they have like SDKs in multiple languages as you can see on their docs here. And also I'll be showing you Open MCP recently. So the Gaia team sort of like launched something called Open MCP that you can easily build like your own MCP servers without having to like do anything too crazy. You just set up like the CLI, have your script that runs somewhere, and you're able to sort of like start your MCP server on a local port or something, and then you have your MCP server running. So that's something cool I'll be showing also. But
We have a comment from Bamdele. It says, "Let's go." Yep, yep.
oh,
We're hyped. Let's go. Let's go.
thank you, Bamidele.
Thank
Shout
you
out to
very
you.
much. Shout outs. Um,
Okay, so yeah, I was saying they have SDKs like multiple languages. There's Python, TypeScript, Java, Kotlin, and C Sharp. That you can easily like just use the SDK directly to like build your own
yeah.
MCP clients, servers, and stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
and it's just like it's well extensive enough. So get started building your own clients that integrate with all MCP servers. So in this tutorial, we learn how to build an LLM powered chatbot client that connects to MCP servers. It helps you to have gone through it helps to have gone through the server quick start guide that guides you. Gone through the server quick start that guides you through the basic of building your own server. So they said if we should go through this first. We should build a simple server first, then build a
Mhm.
client, right? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So for server developers, get started building your own server using Cloud for desktop in another client. In this tutorial, we build a simple MCP weather server and then progress and then connect it to a host Cloud for desktop. We'll start with the basic setup and then progress to more complex use cases. What we'll be building. Many LMs not currently have the ability to fetch the forecast and serve weather alerts. Let's use MCP to solve that. We'll build a server that exposes to slots, get alerts, and get forecast. Then we'll connect to connect the server to an MCP host, in this case cloud for desktop. Now see how these two things are like sort of like function names. That's because they kind of are in the sort of MCP context. So they're like both of them are like you know yeah, they're basically just functions, honestly, that the
Mhm.
server that the LLM can sort of understand. So that when you ask it a question, it sees them as tools. So when you ask it a question like, for example, see this one, what weather alerts are active for New York? So it tries to like, it calls get alerts immediately, like to check the weather alerts. If you ask it for
Yeah.
like forecast also, it's able to like get weather.
Mhm. So I think those
Honestly.
functions have like they are tied to like specifics, like what exactly they do. So
Yeah, they're like
once,
actions.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're like so once you get like a prompt relating to that, it just throws it to the action
yeah, yeah,
to kind of figure it out. Yeah.
yeah. So they said why Cloud Forex are not Cloud.ai because servers are locally run. MCP currently only supports desktop hosts. Remote hosts are in active development. Interesting. What does this mean though? Well, let me read it again. Okay, you run your server. Well, what if you deploy your server though? Most hosts. Uh, I mean, we probably
I
have to
mean,
try
I
that.
think the integration for using uh, a deployed server is what they currently do not have. So maybe you
Oh,
have
I
to use
see.
that. Yeah.
But well, wait, does that mean you can't deploy an MCP server? I mean, I've never tried though, but it just kind of sucks if you can't deploy an MCP server. Because what's the point of it? But yeah, let's see. Okay, so core MCP concepts. MCP servers can provide three main types of capabilities: resources. So in an MCP server, you have resources like that is file-like data that can be read by clients, like API responses or
Mm-hmm.
file content. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are resources. Tools, functions that can be called by the LLM with user approval. And then you have prompts, creating templates that help the users that help users accomplish specific tasks. Okay, so this kind of makes sense. So MC server, you have resources, tools, and then you have prompts. So your
Mm-hmm.
resources could be like CSV files, it could even be local data, it could be resources from like it could be responses from a backend server or a free API or an API provider. Tools, functions that can be called by the LLM itself, which is our approval.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm guessing this will also sort of be like an action that is available um to the LLM when it when the server
When you're
when
trying,
the client is using it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said
Yeah,
like
prompt.
yeah, it's always available when it's trying to like process data or information. So we have a comment from Akintola Felix. Says
Yeah.
remote like cloud on the web. Yeah, yeah. So I think the question is for me I feel like maybe the integration with remote hosts is what is missing. No, like maybe you can't deploy your MCP server. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's what I think. But then
Interesting.
yeah, then again we have
Let's
to
see, do. Let's see,
yeah.
though, because the way MCP kind of works, you sort of um are you sort of I mean, it's kind of like JSON based from what I've seen. Um, your MCP client is aware, is listening to a specific port. For example, if you have, because that's two ways. So there's STDIO and there's also SSE. Um,
Mm-hmm,
for you to interact with your client and send data to it. So, but we sort of need to still test that out and see if uh
exactly.
if if it's on a port, if it's active on a port, if it's active on a port, then it can be deployed, and we can be deployed. I mean, it kind of makes sense that we're able to use it with the clients. But let's just build something and test it out to sort of see if that works. Like if it even makes any sense in the first
Mm-hmm,
place.
exactly. We have
So
another comment. Joshua.
Joshua joined. Shout out to Joshua.
Yeah, welcome Joshua. So he says he has a question. Deploy MCP server in what sense?
Oh, so what's the actual question? Oh, we're just asking a question about this. Like because you sort of put this notes here like for this FAQ, like why Cloud for desktop and not Cloud.ai servers are locally run. NCP currently only support desktop hosts, remote hosts rather are in active development. So I was just sort of curious about that. But yeah, we can sort of just try that out and see. Like we can try building a server, right? Like we need to actually start from somewhere before we answer that question.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we'll build a server, see how it works, and then it would now make sense to inform our own decisions of whether or not it can actually even be if
Can
it's
it
a
be
question of deployment or not.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. So we already read through this. So the tutorial will focus on tools, primarily focus on tools. They didn't explore resources or prompts for now. But I guess we can always find the complete code. Okay, sort of say so the quick start assumes you have familiarity with Python and LLMs like Claude. Oh, so they're using like Python here though. We can switch from here to Node. Okay, so TypeScript and then so now we have set up our environment. Let me just open my warp, and I'll share my entire screen. CD.
Now, it now feels like you use work more than myself nowadays.
Oh, me, yeah, I use warp a lot. I do a lot of like terminal stuff. So I tend to
Yeah.
like because stuff like Gaia, we tend to like train I create embeddings a lot for models and so I use like maybe TXT, Markdown, CSV, all these kind of things, create embeddings for models and then I run the model and I sort of like just doing backend stuff mostly lately. So it has made me be using terminal more actively. So that's
Mhm.
why.
I
And
actually have it. I have
WAP has
like a
been
tab.
super helpful.
Yeah, I have a tab for the warp. I just like leave it there in case I need to do any terminal related stuff. I just jump in there.
Yeah, Warp is king, honestly. Like, to be honest, I was holding out for like a long time. Because the thing with some I think people need to like sort of adapt, to the new ecosystem. Because AI tools
Mhm.
are here now and like they are doing like really amazing stuff. Um
Yeah, you either
I guess
join
with
along or be left behind.
yeah,
That's how it.
exactly. So yeah, honestly. So
Mhm.
it sort of like took a while. But then like since I started, a lot of my colleague friends are already using it. Even before I used Claude. I'm sorry, not Claude. Cursor, it took a while. Like I was like, yeah, am I going to use this and stuff? So
Mhm.
so yeah, okay, now let's make directory and then feed it to it. Okay, right there now. Let's just create a new project, a simple project. npm
Mhm.
init y, weather, that's what it's called. So now we install the SDK and Zod, and then we install TypeScript also in there.
Can you zoom in
Uh,
your terminal
oh my work,
screen?
okay.
Yeah,
Is it good now?
a bit more. Okay, yeah, it's good now.
Okay, okay. So packages are installed. We'll create a directory and then we'll create a file called index.ts in that directory. So I'm going to code dot this. Then a code dot always opens VS Code. Maybe there's a way we can make it close. Did you eventually figure it out? I think you said you were going to check it
Yeah,
out or something.
I didn't actually because I tried it. I actually tried it on my native terminal. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like maybe they had the same configuration. So I looked into the settings, but I was unable to figure it out. I just left it at that point and I didn't go back to it. But I'll check it out, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll also check it out. Let me give you live share. I don't know why
Yeah,
my
sure.
editor is taking time to
Joshua is
load.
saying your terminal needs to be bigger. Maybe
Oh yeah, I zoomed it. It zoomed in already, right?
yeah, I think. Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Why is it? Okay, okay, okay. It started already. I just wasn't looking. Wait, my laptop actually freezing. Do I have Docker running again? Because when I have like multiple servers, I tend to like forget about them. I'll just keep using the PC. I think it's good. Also, yeah, like over the week, like I was saying that I was training. I told you I was training like a couple of custom yeah, like I've been creating embeddings a lot for like LLMs and stuff now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We used to work at
Yeah.
Gara. So I took this like side project. So I went to the MCP docs for TypeScript and Python and their GitHub. I sort of I used a tool called Git ingest, script the entire repo, the entire docs, and also extracted a few pages of the docs by myself. And then I
Mm-hmm.
created this mcp.txt and I used it to train my own. I needed to create like an embedding for like an MCP AI agent that knows a lot about MCP, um, and can also help you build and learn about MCP in TypeScript and Python. So I essentially just created this file. It's about 15,000 lines or 11,000 lines long. So it knows a lot about MCP. Um,
Yeah.
and it
And
can
these
it
are
can
like
help you build. And
information, right? These are
yeah,
like
like
information
yeah, essentially like
around.
I just give it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just give it a lot of context. I created it. I put the data sets on Hugging Face right here.
Oh,
So if you go to my Hugging Face, so this is it here. 3 days ago. So I gave it like a lot of context about MCP. So it knows a lot. So and I
mm-hmm.
created the snapshots for it here. So this is the snapshots. This is the TXT raw TXT file. Yeah, you can just use like any Gaia node you want, and it knows a lot about
I
MCP. You
just
can even
plugged
put
it
it in
in
your
here.
editor. So yeah, that was one cool project I worked on the side. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
actually really
okay.
cool. I mean,
Yeah,
you should,
thanks.
you should probably write an article
Yeah, I
or
would actually like.
yeah,
Yeah, I would actually like. I think that would be a very fun article.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so decide to add type
Have you
module
sent
to our pack.
the live share to me?
Oh, shit, it's in my. Let me just stop sharing my screen and then share it to you.
Okay. Shit.
Okay, I sent it to you already.
All right.
Can you see my screen?
Um, yes, yes. But I think you need to zoom in a bit.
My editor.
Yeah.
Is it good now?
Mm, yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool. So they said to add type module, and the build script. So the build script is calling TypeScript compiler and calling the shmod command. To build to run index.js. So I'm guessing the compiled file of your index.ts. Oh, so we sort of like compile the file, and then we run it. So essentially, and they're using shmod to give it permissions. So that's what this build script does. So
Mm-hmm.
so we add this one here, and then they tell us to add type module, and I'm thinking and the build script. So we added those. So I'll create the tsconfig.json in the root of your project. Tsconfig.json. I think the best way they could do this is like create a CLI that will do all this for you, or that would definitely improve the experience.
Exactly.
Or
So
they have be like, yeah,
once you have
or they do
any
like an
problem,
npx, or they do like an npx kind of vibe for the installation, so that when you are installing it, you just sort of like install everything together as one.
definitely.
Okay, so I have these now. The output directory to compile to a .build folder. This is the root directory and targeting. Okay, they didn't put the file target here, but it will compile the index.ts file by default.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the TSC. So importing packages and setting up the instance. Add this to the top of your src.index.ts. So what does this do? So now we are importing this MCP server interface from the package itself.
Yeah.
STDIO server transport. So I remember I spoke about like two sort of ways to interact with the server, STDIO being one of them, and then SSE,
Mm-hmm.
which is server set events, being the other one. And so what are they
Yeah.
doing? We're using this NWS National Weather Service API, and the user agent weather app 1.0. Wait, true. Okay, so we create an MCP server, passing the name, the version of the MCP server, capabilities, so which are resources and the tools we'll be using. I see. So then I'm guessing eventually all these functions and the types, they will come back to be registered as tools. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
The ones that are called with dot two, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, I see. This makes sense. Okay. So let's dive in. All right, makes sense. Okay, so essentially like a base setup for your server. You import your MCP server, STDI server transport, import Zord, for like validation and stuff. Um, we are going to be using the NWS National Weather Service API base. That's what it is, right? Is it
Yeah.
National Weather Service? Okay. Server is up, so it's okay. And then come back here. And then user agents, which is weather app 1.0. Still need to know what this does though. But now we've created the server instance here. Now what next? You have access now, right?
Yeah, I do.
So next is helper functions. So this is an async function that so we use okay. So we add this to the header. So like user agent will be so the header and the user agent value for your request header would now be this, and then the accept application geo plus JSON. So another kind of so this is another form of data formats that an HTTP server can respond back with. And then you make a an asynchronous request, fetch with the URL, passing your headers. Response is okay. If response is not okay, rather throw an error. Um, else return the response as T. So you type, okay, yeah, this type here. That must be returned by the server. Else catch an error, else throw an error, catch the error. The alert feature is an interface, and then the format alert takes in whatever alerts that you get back. Okay, that's just the NWS request. So it takes in the feature that you get back, feature the properties, then it returns them as this: is an event, area, severity, status, headline, and then it joins them with like a separate line, right?
So it returns a
Okay,
string.
okay, an array.
Right?
It turns an array of them, and then you do dot join to like make them join as a string, but with like new line
Mm-hmm.
breaks, new line
Yeah.
breaks, and then you have this type here, forecast period, another interface. Most of it are optional here. Alert feature takes in that feature. Alert response is a takes in the as a features key in the object, and then that key is an array of alert features that is right here, the types here. Okay, and then point response has properties as a key, and it takes in forecast as a string. Interesting.
So this
Forecast
type
response. This
for this particular NWS request.
no, I think this one is just this one just makes a request to the server itself, and then to this base URL. So it makes a request to check the status of the server. Oh wait, oh no, sorry. It makes a request, any request you want. So I'm guessing there will be two endpoints that we
Mm-hmm.
can then make those requests to. So this one is the request maker function. So you just pass in the URL and then it makes a request for you. So I'm guessing when they create those tools, they will not be calling that function to make requests.
Oh,
So alert URL. So now you see it make NWS request. Alert response as the type that it expects. How do I scroll to the side here? Okay, I think I can hold then pull. I'm not very used to this mouse. Um okay, wait, I'm guessing is that way to actually scroll to the side? I don't know how to use external mouse to do that. So
oh.
okay,
I mean,
okay.
you can
So
hold, yeah, exactly.
okay, I use my cursor. Okay, so alert response is the type that it's expect as a response, and then you pass in your alert URL that you've built up here. So now the alert endpoint is what you would use for the get alerts function, for the get alerts tool rather. A tool is more or less a function if you think about it
Yeah.
in the scope of like what how the LLM would be interacting with it. And if no alerts data, you give this back to as a response. Else alerts data
Mm-hmm.
of features. Features of length is equal to 0. You give this back. Else you format the alerts. So that's just features the map format alerts. Where's format alerts coming from? Where's format alerts coming from? I think there was a function we created for this up here. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's a
Oh wait, so
format.
it's yeah. So
Yeah.
it's to call this function on every value in the array, or is that what this does? Right? So for every feature, it's to call
Mm,
format alerts.
yes. So exactly, and it takes in alert features, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, it doesn't take anything. It's which is kind of weird. So I'm guessing this function implicitly will just format every feature that comes back in the array.
We are you sure it doesn't take anything? I saw the function.
Look at no. I'm saying here that it doesn't take anything here. So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe
Oh, okay.
yeah, it implicitly just takes every feature within the array. But does map actually do that? Have you used it like this before? Like does map, then you just call it like this.
No, but wait. What's the return type of the format alert? Okay, returns. Oh, exactly. So because of format alert takes in an argument with the same type as what these features, like each of the features, their type
Yeah.
corresponds to what format alert takes. This is just like a way of like a shorthand way of doing it.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
happens?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you've
Yeah,
used it like this before.
no, I've not, but I think it's pretty understandable how it works. So it just
Yeah.
does this function for each of them
Yeah,
and
for each one of
passes
them.
that
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. So then it says active alert for that state code. So state code comes back directly. So somebody so SA joined the stream. Shout out to SA for being here.
Big shout out. So she wants to learn. Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, I also want to learn essay. So we're all learning. Hopefully, we're able to, we're able to get one or two uh
so this
understanding
so
during the screen.
the synchronous function takes in a state and an object. And then I see. Wait, sure. So then there's active alert for state code. So you get the code for that state. Formatted alert dot join
Mm-hmm. So
together like
new
in
line,
a new line. Yeah, new line.
yeah,
Okay, interesting. So wait, I think I get this now. So for whenever you call this function, it expects a set of arguments. So for example now,
exactly.
some get alert expects state as its argument.
Mm-hmm.
So two-letter code for the argument that it expects. So it's just take it as state. So now the asynchronous function then takes in this state and then it uses it to run every other operation that this tool needs. And then same for get forecast. Latitude also and longitude are the arguments that get forecast needs to run every
Mm-hmm.
operation that this asynchronous function needs. I think kind of makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So anything that doesn't like it's not within um it's not within the argument, right? You have
Mm.
it like within that tool itself. So you don't need to like pass it to the tool. So you just need to pass like those. Can you hear me? You just need to pass
Yeah,
like those
I can hear you.
oh okay. So you just need to pass like those two arguments to it and then it's just be able to run the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly like you said. So now where do they call these tools? Um, okay, wait, did they actually call
So
the
for
tools?
instance,
Okay, wait.
the map is an higher order function
Mm-hmm.
and it takes a function many times we pass animal function. But I can take a normal functions too. Yep, yep. So everything is just, I mean, it's just like understanding
Mm.
what is being passed and what is outfitting, basically. So in as
Yeah,
much as
exactly.
the correct will work, yeah. Your screen is not up, Toby. I think you have to reshare.
It's not. It's not
Yeah, it's
right
just
now.
showing. Yeah, it's not up. I think you have to reshare again for it
Thank you
to
for
come up.
joining. SA, Joshua, Bamidele, Felix. Also, shout out to all of you.
Yeah, big shout out to you guys. You guys are the OGs. We need more comments. Please
Can
keep on your comments. Yeah,
you see my screen
please.
now?
Let's not. Yeah, yeah. Let's not go the TikTok route. You know how you do. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, so but let's not go to that route. So please drop the
So it's
comments.
so we sort of read through
Yeah.
the code, sort of read through the
Mm-hmm.
code, found out what we needed. I'm not very comfortable with having all these types be littered around here, so we can just create a types file.
Okay. Um.
Do you want to handle this? Maybe move all of them and then export them.
Yeah. But why am I getting a weird message like a warning that is declared and never used? The types. Is that
Which
what
one?
are
Which
you
one?
seeing that on your end also? Like I think on almost everything.
Wait, I'm not getting that. Oh yeah, I'm getting it. It's declared, but its value is never used. Yeah, it's because we're not using it right. We're not using it yet.
but some of them are okay, 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 okay.
Mm,
I thought you copied the entire stuff. Let me just move this.
okay,
Yes,
great, great, great. So yeah, all these are interfaces that we'll be using our requests and responses and everything. And now to
mm-hmm.
connect our server to these tools, so we have to register the tools so that the MCP server is aware of them. So while Emmanuel is moving the types, register the first two. So make NWS request is at the top there. I cannot find name server. Okay, I'm on the wrong file. Oh, I was following Emmanuel, so he kept moving me to just keep moving me to his own file or something. So now when I put this here, exactly. So now point response, I just have to import this type if he has exported when he exports it. So server.tool, so that we see this more clearly, takes in expects latitude and longitude, and then the descriptions of latitude and longitude are here. So that's your location, longitude of location, and then we use that sort of sort of add like validation. So minimum minus 90 and maximum is 90. So it sort of goes in between these two values. Wait, what do they mean though? I just 90 and 180. Thought longitude was always a long number. Um,
Yes, I added the I moved the types.
okay, move the types. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think this ones have automatically imported it, so I'm not getting those errors again. So latitude, longitude, failed to get. So let's if you get an error. If you get, format the response of the forecast. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, only US
Call.
locations are supported.
Yeah, from the server. It's a US what's it called?
Oh,
Yeah. It's a US service, so their APIs naturally would support US stuff. But if you found a local one,
see.
we can always use that too. We just have to change the types and we have to change the types that our server uses. And also the
Mhm.
the request. Okay, so wait, I think I already added this. Am I copy pasting twice? Yeah, I already added this. Okay, so I added the one for forecast and the one for uh alerts also. So this is one for alerts up here. This thing is very long. So alerts states to uppercase, the API base URL. They'll make the
Mhm.
requests, a bunch of error handling. All these ones are like error handling and early returns and stuff, so that you're able to like respond in case there's no like values from this because there's like response or any other data coming from the API. You're like, oh yeah, so this doesn't exist or something like that.
Mhm.
Forecast data. Make the request with this response, expecting this response. Properties with period and forecast period inside. Forecast period as all these things. So formatted forecast, you have to format the forecast data also to be an array of all these, and then you eventually join them back. Forecast for latitude, longitude. Formatted forecast, they join with a new line break, and then um else you just return. I mean, finally rather you just return content with this type. So I'm guessing all of these things are like baked into the schema of how a tool should be. If we went to check the type of this tool now, so this is MCP server. I'm looking into the like into the SDK code. I'm looking for like tools. Okay, so this is tool. A registered tool would always have description, input schema. Um, okay, wait, sorry. So a tool takes in a name, and also that has a name rather, and it has a callback function. Every tool has that. Okay, wait, there's two. Okay, the same thing. And then register the zero arguments name tool name, which will run the given function when the client calls it. Okay, so you have to create the tool first still, and then you register it, or is it still the same thing? I think it's the same thing. So this is your registered tool type for the
Mhm.
response. Description, input schema, annotations. You have a callback here. So
Oh, we have
parameters
another
include,
comment. Sorry for
yeah,
cutting you. We have another comment from Felix. So he
yeah.
said, "Yeah, thank you, man. This is my first time here. Welcome, welcome." And then he says, "I have been working with MCP servers with Java, Spring AI precisely. Since then, I've been interested in anything MCP. So immediately I saw this in my notification. I had to join. Oh, 11. Wow, on bike. Great stuff, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for joining in,
Thank you for
Felix. Yeah,
thank you
you
for
want to say
being
something
here,
to me?
Felix. Yeah, I want to say thank you for
Mm-hmm.
being here, Felix. It's means a lot.
Yep, yep, yep.
So for your tool,
Yeah,
to
so where
register
we
your
at
tool,
now?
yeah, to register your tool, your MCP server expects certain things to be passed in, and those are like uh what's it called? Okay, for this specific tool, for example, passing in
Yeah.
longitude and latitude. We're passing with read-only hints, destructive hints. I'm guessing these are like other data you could pass.
Mm-hmm.
Register a tool name description, taking either parameters or annotations. This unified value handles both tool name description parameters callback. So this is the callback, and these are the
Yeah,
parameters.
we do. Mm-hmm. So it takes in
So
the first one is the name, right? I'm guessing.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
then the next one is like a description
Mm-hmm.
of what it does. And
Yeah,
then we have the parameters. The next ones, what are those ones?
latitude and longitude. So it's the
Okay.
same for every. It's the same for whenever you call this tool function. You always have to pass in each of
Mhm.
these data: name, description. Oh, this is nice. And then the callback. The callback is the one that is always long because that's where
That
most of the
perform
logic
the
happens.
actions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense then. Okay, nice, nice, nice deep dive. Um, so that's done. And now you run the server. So you call this, you pass in this main function for your server, your Node.js server, and then you also if there's an error, you
Mm-hmm.
just catch it. So transport, we are using this STDI transport. There's also like SFC transport. I keep mentioning that, but there's like two ways you can actually use it because MCP is stateful. So when you're trying to use it with something like say Edge, when you try to use MCP servers as like Edge functions or use it like in a serverless architecture, you may tend to like you may tend to have to compensate for the fact that it's stateful. So you need to maybe
Mm-hmm.
like have an actual you need to have it be an actual be in an actual server environment, not as like an edge function or something that you can just like take a program and put it there and have it compile at runtime and give you a response or something. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I actually tried when MCP first came out, I actually tried using it as a serverless function, but I ran into a lot of errors. Then I saw one active issue open on their GitHub that they were trying to explore how to make it stateless also.
Oh, okay. But what's like the major difference between like um using the STI or like the two of them? What's that
Oh,
mean?
so STDIO, I think is more. If I maybe we can look up so that I don't say rubbish. Also, STDIO versus SSE. But I know SSE is server sent events. That is, um, standard input output. So it's used for like inter-process communication within the same system.
Oh,
So your computer, your server, and your clients have to be like uh yeah, it's good for like CLI tools like local integrations and services that operate like within the same sort of process or maybe even machine most times I think for STDI
mm-hmm.
through standard input outputs. So it sort of showed that here and then showed a simple STDI client also. Wait. And then for SSC, servers can push real-time updates to web clients over a single long-lived HTTP connection. One-way communication from server to client, making it stable for applications that require real-time data updates. SSC is transport machines and enable communication between clients and servers, multiple client connections efficiently, and supports features like authentication and scalability. So yeah, that's the like major difference I think.
Yeah.
So your computer with
And we have
STDIO.
the same we have
Yeah. So
the
yeah,
same
okay,
image
this is a good one.
description.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
STDIO. So this is like, yeah, this default sort of image even is for like showcases how STDIO actually does work as a transport for MCP. So for now this
Mhm.
versus table. Communication, STDIO is local, asynchronous, SSE is network based, real time. You have HTTP and you have you together with SSE. So you can do things like that, like you just said, you can do things like auth easily, even use like custom auth provider and all those things before you like actually interact with the
Mhm.
server. Because you may have been seeing people like doing authentication more now with MCPs and building auth layers for MCP and AI now. So this is one very cool way that you can implement it. Yeah, with
Mhm.
so STDI supports a single client, SSE multiple clients. Scalability, STDI is limited to single process. SSE is I, supports many clients. Authentication, no built-in. SSE it supports, you can use JWT or have API keys because it's to be like an actual backend server that serves multiple front ends. Setup complexity, STDI is simple, minimal.
Exactly.
Um, SSE requires HTTP endpoints. Wait, let's remove this. Uh,
Network.
Network config, yeah. CLI tools, local integrations, STDI is good for that. Web apps, real-time notifications, dashboard, SSE. Latency is very low, but can be affected by network conditions. Um, Reliability high for local processes, automatic connection and error handling. Because SSE is like event-based kind of, so it kind of works very
Mhm.
similar to how WebSockets would work, but it's not exactly the same. So yeah, it's stateful. You can implement custom things like odds, and then you can use it in web apps and stuff. STDI is always typically like CLI based, terminal based stuff, and always local most times. Yeah, like they just showed us here. Shout out to VS Krishnan for this. So that was my like high level overview. Can you still hear me? Wait, am I not live again? If you can hear me in the chat, please let me know. I don't know if Emmanuel is still alive. Oh wait, okay, it's Manuel then. It's not me. Let me just keep sharing my screen and okay, yeah, let's dive in and continue before Emmanuel comes back. So yeah, we already built the server. We sort of have created like the entry point to the server also. We're doing like STDIO. Um, and we just like showed you there's some differentiation on STDIO versus SSE. So so now let's test the server. I think that's the next step. So test the server. Make sure you have Cloud for Desktop installed. I think I have that already. We need to use Cloud for Desktop for whichever MCP servers you want to use. To do this, open your Cloud Desktop for app and go to this. We open our Cloud Desktop app config, and we can just easily swap out rather the config to use this current server that we have. And then yeah, let's just do this. So for example, I'll go to the terminal here. I can also open this terminal and use it. I'll open a new tab for it. So it will go to my root, yeah, Cloud config. And then you can see our server here. I also tested this as like a server at the time. So that's when this was the time I was actually trying to do like an SSE server. I'm sorry, like a, what's it called? I'm using like serverless to try to like, uh, deploy an MCP server. I actually got some parts of it to work, but the problem with it was that it wasn't stateful. So the data would come back, but then when the data comes back, you're not actually able to use it to persist it long enough for you to actually give the LLM context. So the data will just come back and disappear again. So it was very kind of like random. But I'm sure like other providers maybe for like serverless have implemented certain solutions. I think it's Vercel. Vercel has like a very good way to sort of maybe handle this, or maybe other providers also that use like serverless a lot. AWS, for example, with their Lambda functions. maybe there's like an architecture that they have that would allow you to sort of maybe just have like an MCP server be able to work on their, with their Lambda functions. So okay, so we already have this, and we just have to do like an absolute part to our index.js, which will be our compiled file in this case. So all I have to do is change this to be let me just find pwd. I'm just going to copy the entire thing here. Remove this. To be in a build folder. Okay, cool. And then come back here. I already added what I need rather. And now this tells Claude for desktop that there's an MCP server named weather, which will be the name of the folder itself. And then you can launch it by running this node. This tells Claude that there's an MCP server named this, and then Node can also run it. And then Claude rather can run it by just doing node and the absolute path to that compiled index.js file from our index.ts file, and then you can save the file, and we can save the file rather and restart Claude for desktop. So I'm just going to save this. I think it's automatically saved, and I have permissions there. And I'll just all I have to do now is open my Claude for desktop and test it out, and then we will see like a tool icon appear at the bottom. So let's do that. Mane, are you back? Mane, join. Let me just stop sharing my screen and set up everything Claude related. Give me 1 second. I don't know why it signed me out, so it's kind of awkward. Why was I signed out? Not use that. I've not used this in a while though, to be fair. So maybe that's why. But let me just sign in and quickly test it out, and then we'll move on to like say building like a an MCP client, or setting up like our own SSE server that we can use like with an actual client, with multiple clients or something like that. That'll be fun to see. I also want to show you like open MCP though while we're here, because I think why is this taking time though? Something going on. Yeah, I also want to show you like an actual SSE maybe server and how that setup would go. As with yeah, we happen to use okay. I think Emmanuel is back also. Okay, so we're here. Emmanuel, are you back? Yeah, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, so my network was kind of cutting me. I think it's still cutting me now for some weird reasons.
Oh,
But hopefully,
sorry.
yeah. So I have you have to give me any permission for the live share. I think the other one expired.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me just do that. Send it into private chats now. Okay, I sent it to you.
Okay, yep. So let me just add that in.
Wait, is Drex in your background? Emmanuel, is Drex in your
Yeah, I think
background?
yeah, he's making a call. So for some reason, his voice is it's
Oh, I
at the
can't.
other room, sure,
Yeah.
but I don't
Oh, okay. I was like, all right, damn, that voice is very, that voice is very familiar.
yeah, he has relationship issues, so he's trying to figure it out. Um,
Oh, good.
yeah, so I think I'm in now. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, okay, great. So let me share my screen again. So I signed into like my cloud because I think I was signed out or something. So I just signed
Okay.
back in and sharing my entire screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep, yep, yep. It's coming up.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. So yeah, where's my server? Okay, this is it actually. Wait, what was I? What am I even looking for?
I think you have
Um,
to. Yeah, it's just showing a blank listing. So maybe
okay,
try
let me show.
to.
How about now?
Yeah, it's up now.
Okay, great.
Maybe
So
zoom in a bit. Yeah. Good, 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 good.
so we had to like change the build command in our like directory. So
Okay.
Cloud Desktop always has a config file within the root of most machines when you install Cloud Desktop. So now you can now add what's it called, custom MCP servers for your Cloud Desktop with this JSON file. So you just add like the name of your MCP server in this case, which is whether you can
Mm-hmm.
then sort of have a way to make Cloud Desktop run this command. So Cloud Desktop would do like node, then your build file that you generated from your compiled TypeScript file.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, yeah, so that's about it. So yeah, we actually have to we actually do have to do npm run build for our MCP server, for MCP server to see, for Claude rather, to see that okay, yeah, there's a build file generated, because currently we don't have any build folder. It's just it's just our code that we have for now. So when we do npm run build, so now we run the build script that we created earlier in our package.json, and then we generate index.js, which is our bundled or compiled rather, for better terminology, our compiled file that has all the things that is needed for like our MCP server rather. And now for
Yeah.
our cloud desktop to see that okay, this machine already has everything I need now, we now have to restart it according to what they said. So when we restart this now, yeah, so now it sees MCP now, so it just give us this tooltip also, like, oh, there's MCP here now, and there's this weather MCP. So now we can ask it for like example, what is,
Can you zoom in a bit? Yours.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, so we have our MCP server here now, you can see it's weather, and it has these two
Oh,
tools
okay, 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 okay.
registered already,
Yeah.
and they are active, and you can even
And you
toggle
could
them
even
on or off.
toggle the two. Yeah,
Yeah,
makes.
I mean, like, what is the weather in Houston, Texas, uh currently? So a normal LLM currently doesn't, unless you can access the web, uh we will not be able to actually get this data for us, you know,
Mhm.
normally. But
Yeah.
empowered with MCP, it can now do this. And now we're now using Claude desktop with like an external integration, and it's asking us that do we want to use this to get the forecast. We can just say allow always. So now it will now use, so now it has gotten the it has used the LLM to get the latitude and
To get the
longitude.
light and attitude of
Yeah, for
that
East in Texas. Yeah, exactly.
Texas,
So
which
now
will
this
not
is
be
the
used
request.
to.
Yeah, so it will now use it to make that request with that callback function that is in that tool, and now it's now
Mm-hmm.
used to get. So now it's now used to make that request with the latitude and longitude. It makes the request to the AWS API backend, and then it returns back this response for it, and then we use our format function. remember all these format functions that we wrote to go to new line and stuff. So
Mm-hmm,
all of that
mm-hmm.
to run, all of that to run, and then it's just like give the response back in this format. And now our LLM takes that data, reads it, and it's able to say when in Houston, Texas, which is the one for tonight. And wait, what did he actually use though? Is there one for today or now?
There's today.
Okay, so
It's
okay, today,
one.
yeah. Yeah. So today, 81 degrees Fahrenheit, conditions, partly sunny. Most of the data that was returned back here. Chance of showers and thunderstorm, wind speed, severe expectancy, small chance of rain. So all of these are like LLM stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It
So what?
is
So what it does
even
is
with
that,
previous data.
yeah. So what it does is that it sort of connects the LLM. So it makes sense now because the LLM can work only when it has the right data. So what it does is it gets that data from whatever, maybe API or whatever you're trying to get the data,
Yeah, yeah,
gives to the LLM, and the LLM takes it and processes it and gives you like a human readable response, something that makes
exactly,
sense. That data.
exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So
Makes total sense.
yeah, and that's pretty much how um an MCP server works with an MCP client. And now note, Claude itself is an MCP host that has an MCP client within it. So because
Mm-hmm.
it has an MCP client within it, it's able to like understand when there are MCP tools, when there's an MCP server available for you to use, because we've
To use,
configured it
yeah.
here in the
Mm-hmm.
package, in the Claude config. So if we have multiple MCP servers, we can always just add them,
Add them there.
comma, new one also, add another MCP server, continue like that, to add as many as you want, and then all of them will just be listed out here. You can decide which ones to enable and stuff. So yeah, that's a simple demo of how an MCP
Yeah.
server works. But this one is STDIO, just so you know.
I mean, this is very, very, like, it's now very much clear to me. Like, um, I mean, at the first instance, I was still doubting like how exactly the communications would work, but now I think it's very clear now. How exactly all these things works, and again, it's something you can even like you can build around so many things, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't like no specific. Oh, this is how. This is what you have to
no,
use it for.
it's
So
you can use anything. You can use it anyhow you want.
exactly, just based on a use case, just use it, and then it works right off the bat. This is very, very, very helpful and good, to be honest. Um,
So next step, we can actually build an MCP client.
oh, okay. So this is just doing like a building a client within the MCP host, right?
Uh, yeah. So we're building like a simple client, with an MCP host. Yes.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, we can jump in. We can jump in. Let's see. Are we still going to follow? Um, are we still following the tutorial on the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
MCP?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool, 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 cool.
Also, I went to like, can you see my screen?
One sec. Yeah.
So I went to check their docs on like transports and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
wait. Oh yeah, this is it. So I went to check their docs on transports. Like their the communication mechanisms that MCP uses. So MCP uses JSON RPC 2.0 as its wire format. Transport layer is
Mm-hmm.
responsible for converting MCP protocol messages into JSON RPC formats for transmission and converting received JSON RPC messages back into
Into
MCP
MCP.
protocol messages. So there are three types of JSON RPC messages used for requests. So JSON RPC 2.0, I have the method, params, and the ID, number or string for the ID, results, and then error. Okay, as a response. And for notifications, you have this also method and params as the JSON object. Okay, I'm guessing these are the three of them. Interesting. So built-in transport types So there's two transport types built in. So standard inputs, outputs. So local integrations and command line tools. So building command line. So for example, if you are running your MCP server locally on your machine, you don't actually have to use um maybe an elaborate huge backend server. You can just use this simple one. I mean, see the way we did it. All we had to do was compile our code that we have add here to a bundled file, and we added it here. So as long as you have this here, and if and this folder exists within your machine, this will always run. So you don't need to, or you can just even take this bundled file and go and put it somewhere else. Like your own folder for your MCP server to always be running it whenever you
Yeah.
want. So so need simple process communication, or you're working with shell scripts also. So this is a simple stdio server. The client would also be as simple as this. So you just call um it's command the server. Okay, to run the server it's script. Okay, client dot connect transports. Yeah, to this transport that you've created with the STD client transport. Yeah. All right, makes sense. So for server sent events, enables server to client streaming with HTTP post request for client server communication. Only server client streaming is needed. Working with restricted networks, implementing simple updates. DNS rebinding attacks. SSH transports can be vulnerable to DNS rebinding attack if not properly secured. Always validate origin headers. Always avoid binding servers to all network interfaces. That is using this when running locally bind when running locally bind only to this port, which is your local host point port rather bind only local to your local host, like IP rather,
This,
not your port.
yeah, IP
IP.
address
Yeah.
exactly.
So implement proper authentication for all SSE connections. Without these protections, attackers could use DNS binding to interact with local MCP servers from remote websites. So this is a simple MCP server that uses SSE. So you create a server. Um, yeah, like with this. Where's server coming from? Okay, I just create a new server like that with like Node. We're using Express though. Yeah, together with it. Okay. So capabilities here. So I'm guessing you have to import the server. I don't know why they didn't show that. Or is this built in into like Node or JavaScript or something? Like is that a built-in thing? Let me see. Oh yeah, you can just create a server like that. But wait, does he have let me see, does he have capabilities?
Where is this
Yeah,
server instance coming from? New
I think it's
MCP
coming
server.
from Node. It's coming from uh import server incoming message. Yeah, I think they didn't import. I think the docs is wrong here. Maybe they were supposed to import this server itself. Okay, so they create the transports though, but did you actually use it anywhere else? Server. I don't see them using it here. So what's the point of this? Because they are using Express instead. So there's an SSE endpoint. And this one just calls the messages endpoint. So server that connects to that transport. Okay, they're supposed to import this then. I think from somewhere. Because they're calling server that connects. And
Mm-hmm.
then for messages, because this calls this messages endpoint, takes a request response, and if there's a transport, and do that post message.
Um,
Interesting. So this works like an actual backend server and then listens on port 3000. Um, so yeah, it
yeah,
makes sense. So you can create your own custom transports also. That's nice. Interesting. So you can set like your the entire like setup for how you want it to work and undo the network security and everything. Interesting. This is nice. It's very extensible.
yeah. But when we are calling this, what is it? This server, okay, this one was the one we used for. Okay.
Yeah. What are you looking at? Are you looking at this?
I was actually looking at, yeah, the server instance that we created before, but I figured that one was used for this the previous one we just did. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah, I just saw it now.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be MCP server actually. I think
Mm-hmm.
for this one here. Yeah, it's supposed to be MCP
Except,
server. I think this is
yeah,
mistake. Unless this is what they
except we
did.
have a different server.
Unless this is
Yeah,
what it is.
okay. Yeah,
So it's
because I
like
feel like them.
yeah, unless that's what they did. Unless these are as yeah for like yeah giving it a new name, like a pseudonym
Yeah,
or something. Okay, so for client developers, so let's create a simple MCP client. Maybe use it directly with our with our STDIO MCP server, and let's just see how all of that will work together. So system requirements, a Mac or Windows, latest version, latest version of UV also installed. Node.js. So Mac or Windows, Node.js 17 or higher, latest version of npm, Anthropic API key, or Claude. Do I have one though? I think I do. Not sure. Maybe I do.
I
I
think
think
my
I
network
do.
is good again.
What'd you say?
Can you hear me? I think my network is breaking.
Oh, my network.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Uh, yes, well.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, you're out of the stream again. Yo,
Can you hear me, Toby?
yeah, I can hear you now.
I think my network is just. Oh, okay. Uh, sorry. My network has failed me again.
Well, it looks like it's back though.
I hope I'm not disconnected from the live stream. Yeah. I think it's back, but it's
Okay.
not stable. I'm running on like kbps or something. I don't even know how is able to even still
It's a
stream.
stream.
Yeah, I'm on like two MB now. I don't know. Very bad. It's fluctuating actually. It goes up and it comes down. So I don't know what's going on. But I think we are good for now. Am I still audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think we're still good for now.
Okay, awesome. So let me share my screen again then. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes. I can see it.
I bet. So for client developers, get started using your own clients that can integrate with all MCP servers. So Mac or Windows computer, Node.js 17 or higher, latest version of npm installed, Anthropic API key or Claude. Uh, yeah. But wait, do you? I'm curious though. Do you only always have to use uh?
We always have to use Cloud desktop.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that what you said?
yeah, exactly.
I think you mentioned using IDs that have MCP host capabilities. I'm not sure it's only. for desktop.
Oh, these are some frameworks that they have here of AI agents, AI agent frameworks rather, that use MCP out of the box. Oh, I'm just looking through this. So there's this Rust library that I can directly use to work with, like, interesting. By this Adam Strojek person.
Can you zoom in? Your browser is a bit small.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Is that his portfolio?
Yeah, that's portfolio. It has LinkedIn, GitHub. What is this? That's his mail.
Email.
And this is website. Interesting. And he builds that Rust. And he built that Rust thing. This is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just fun to look at. So yeah, there's also this. Oh, I thought this was five, like Davido's album. Um, notes support tools.
Where?
Uh,
What?
fire.
As how now?
It can any times providers. Look at I choose whatever the context protocol servers. Uh, I always thought it was five, honestly. Like that was what I saw. I saw
I
five.
mean, I'm not surprised, Sha, because like the extent that these guys do their PR nowadays.
They will
I
do
mean,
AI agents. So AI
yeah,
agents compatible with Davido's album.
like stream five on
Oh
Spotify
god.
music. Uh, uh,
Hey
I mean,
god.
they are like the big guys everywhere. So I mean, it's okay for them to do their promotion
Yeah, yeah, actually.
and GitHub and everywhere. So um,
Connect with the coders.
yeah, I mean, let's not just dive in. I was going to say something, but let's not go there. Let's do MCP. Let's do MCP.
Okay, cool. So make directory. So yeah, let's
Wait, I
just
got
create this one.
disconnected though from the live
Let me
share. I think this network thing not taking me out again.
I've sent it to you again.
Yep. Thanks. Copy. Pum, 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 pum.
So MCP clients TypeScript, cd to the directory, or create a project as usual. Um, install this into that directory. Install dev dependencies also, for TypeScript stuff. And then we'll create our index.ts file. So we'll also do the same thing and add a build script for our, let's be clear. Okay, we're building a client still. Okay. And I'll just build script for our for our, like For our client. Okay. So it's what did I copy last? To create the file in the create the index.ts file. So I'm just going to code dot this so we can see an editor. Oh wait, I have to give you the live share for this one though, not the other one I gave you. Let this come up. Mm, what's going on? And then when it's open, we have to make some edits in our package.json. Am I the one out this time? Okay, so I have to zoom this in a lot. So this is my index.ts file. I think something is wrong with this. Maybe I just need to restart my PC after the meeting, after the live stream. So let me just move warp to this side. Add type module here. And then we add our build script also. Okay, cool. Create the tsconfig.json also in the root of our project, and then we'll add all this compiler options there and a few other parameters. So tsconfig.json include index.ts, exclude node modules, only compile. Only compile, yeah, in the root directory, but index.ts is there. So now all that's done rather, I will need to create an env and then we'll add our Anthropic API key there. I think I have one. And add env to our git ignore. So in case we want to push that, create an env Anthropic API key. Or we could have just run this command that does this also. And then we'll add our env to git ignore. Let me try to get my API key for that. I think I have one. I think I have one. Mm, Okay, so I just trying to get that. 1 second. If you are still in the in the audience watching the stream, maybe you have any questions or any suggestions, just feel free to chime in. So we're building an MCP client currently. So we built an MCP server, explored the transports, layers that MCP servers can use. We looked at like a few other MCP client frameworks that are out there. We also looked at what's it called, building an MCP server with SCDIU. What else did we look at? We talked about MCP, like the architecture, how it works, how the protocol itself, interacts with LLMs and stuff. So we've done a lot of things in this stream actually. But at the moment, I'm building an MCP client. So I'm going to share my screen. I want to copy my API key. So I don't share that part of the screen. I don't share that part of the stream rather. So I'll get my API key and I'll be back to streaming. So let's continue. Let's continue. Hold on 1 sec. Let me text Emmanuel, see what's going on. Okay, so back to the stream. I just want to get my API key actually. Yo, I've created like a lot. Let me see if I still have credits. Oh, I still have credit actually. Wait, is that I don't use this thing at all? uh So I've copied my Entropy API key. I'm just going to paste that and not share this again. Yeah, so now I can share my screen. Okay, I just want to get my Entropy key. Now let's create the client. Okay, this is a wrong page. Wrong page. Client developers. Yep. So creating the client, see what the code does. Import Anthropic AI from the SDK, and then import rather message paramount tool, from the message.mjs. So I'm guessing message.mjs. So these are the messages that, wait, let's see what they do actually. And I import client itself, the interface for clients, and the no, actually the client, yeah, interface that would create the clients for you, like an studio client. STDO client transport, because we're using STDO readline from readline slash promises.env. So look that env, we check our env first, or we fetch it rather. If there's none, we throw that error. Now set up the MCP client. We create, it has these 4 fields in our class. We create the class the MCP client here, Anthropic, MCP, and the transport as tools. And now we have the constructor, so that when we create an MCP client object, we can just, so when we create an MCP client object, it needs to pass. So we pass in the MCP. What does MCP means? What is MCP rather? It's always a new client, with like MCP client CLI, and then version 1.0.0. I think it's because we're using STDR that we have to use, because it mostly works with like shell stuff and like, um, um, shell stuff and, local stuff. So we create also a new Anthropic instance, yeah, by passing in the API key. And our server connection management, connect to server script part. If it's JS, it ends with this. If it's Python, it ends with that. If it's neither, it must be in this or this. Commander is Py. Processor platform is Windows, use Python or Python 3. Or else it's not Python. Okay, with Python and the processor platform is this, use. Okay, wait, this is very complicated ternary. So if it's Python, uh, then use this. Else use this if it's not Python. But if it's Python, then check the platform. If it's Windows 32, then you decide which of these commands to use, if it's Python or Python 3. Okay, makes sense. So this is the transports, new STI client transports. And they have command here, passed in, because you get command from here. And then the arguments for your transport, server script part, which is, okay, what you pass to your server. Okay, the part to your server script. And then you connect your MCP in client via that transport connection. Tools results, you list the tools to know which tools are available. It's crazy that Claude already has all of this built into their desktop app. So tools result the tools are map for each tool, return name of the tool, the description, and the input schema for the tool, just like we saw on the desktop earlier. Then after that, log connected server with these tools, and then if it's failed to connect, throw an error. And also query processing logic. Now this code makes a ton of sense. There's also query processing logic. So process query, taking the query as a string, messages, message param object. I mean array rather. So row user contents query. With this Anthropic. So now we're now using this is now the LLM setup layer, where we now actually connect to the LLM instance. I also add the tokens, messages to send to it. Our role as user. Then we get the response back from our LLM content type equals text. The push into this final text. Else, if it isn't, if content type is tool use, push into this tool results array. And then after that, get the tool name, get the tool arguments. Then you use MCP to call that tool. Also, so we're handling like when you just add like asking normal questions from your LLM, and compared to when you also are trying to use MCP. That's what this code does. Two results are pushed back into that array. And the final text or push, calling this tool with whenever you call it to push that messages back into the messages array. Row user content result or content as string, and the response from Anthropic. You create that response from Anthropic with these messages that you're passing in, and the content of these results or contents that you get from here. Oh, so you use the results that you get from your tool call as like a user message to be passed on to your LLM. And then your LLM can now give you a response back that you just passing like, oh, this text, response of content at that index, the text, else an empty string. And now final text or join as a string with a new line break. Makes sense. So the interactive chat feature and cleanup functionality. So chat loop create interface, inputs, outputs. So inputs process STD in, outputs this, and now MCP client started typing your queries or queue to exit. So this seems a lot like a shell application. So question rl dot okay, read line the question, okay. If it's to our case, equals quit, okay. That's if you want to quit the CLI. And there's a cleanup also, and also close the MCP connection. Okay. So the main entry points to this, you create a new MCP client because set up a class. Remember, so you create a new instance of that class. Then you call the connect to server function. Method rather, on your MCP client. Passing your process.arg v at index 2. Remember, index 1 will be like the command to run your script, and then the actual question you're asking, I'm guessing. Okay, so this is how you use it. So node index.ts path to server. Okay, wait, it's less than 3. You log out to use it for the user. Okay. Makes sense. Path to server script, and then connect server, call that. So 0, 1, 2. So this is a part of your server script. So it's try to connect to your server with this part. Okay, makes sense. And then MCP clients, the chat loop. Okay, then start that like STD and SD out thing to like get a response and to give you an output back. I really like this code. It's like and then it calls the function at the end. And to run the client, you build it first, then you run this with a Python server. Oh yeah, .py, and then with an index. It's a JS server. Part of your build. That's all. So just that same parts that we have in our that we passed in our client config for Claude desktop. It's the same thing. We just passed our custom clients. Actually, it just like makes a ton of sense, and it sort of gives like insight into how this works. As a client, it's just like it just sort of like it just gives you like a sort of visual into how the Claude desktop client works underneath. So sort of accommodates all these things. So all the methods that we have, like all those close, clean up, everything would go right in there in our MCP clients class. So connect to server is a method. So we'll just add the method here and the sync method. The method to connect to server. I already read through this. We'll add the other methods as well in our class, which is the method to process query right here. Yeah, the query to be sent to your LLM or to call your MCP tool or server rather. In this case, same thing. That method added in, and now the interactive chat method. So this is the chat loop for your MCP client as well as the cleanup function to close the MCP connection. So you pass that in. You pass those two in here as well, and your class is fully set up and it's good to go. And then after that, finally we add the main execution logic. So this is the main logic to sort of call your MCP client and create the class and everything. So this will be outside the class, obviously. Um, because you can see here, you're setting up an instance of the class. So we have access to this because we've created the MCP client from the class at the top here. From the class that we have at the top here. Yeah, so it's an MCP client class. That's a bunch of fields. The constructor, we give it the name of this MCP client CLI. So it's run as a CLI that we just call from our command line, and we can just easily like query it and work with that MCP server that we built earlier for weather. So now we've added all this code in there just to be sure we're not missing out anything. Also max tokens and stuff to manage the LLM queries, server connection management, and then the setup. It's very easy to like set up, honestly. But yeah, sure. If it was an SSC client, for example, I'm sure that would just be like a simple HTTP request response cycle. Or would you still need to manage the clients for that? I think you still would, because you still need to find a way to create that sort of bridge to have your LLM be able to understand the results that come back from your MCP server. Or no, the results should come back as JSON. So if it's coming back as JSON, you just need to sort of have that layer. So you could still maybe use the SDK on the clients. We can just verify that also. But it sort of is making sense now and everything. And neurons are connecting. Neural pathways are being created or whatever. So terminal, let's run the script. So we build it first. Run the build script, and now we can now run the client, which would be, oh, so this is to run the client itself, sorry, not the server. So connect to specify server. We also need to add the part of our server somewhere, right? So okay, this is just console.log. So run our client with this. We'll run the client, build the TypeScript, run our client with this. Or parts to build index.js. So this will run our client, but then it also runs our server in the same command. So call node, run our clients, run our server, then add the part to our server rather. So which is what this does right here. That makes sense. Okay. Because this takes 0, 1, 2. This takes the server part, and then it connects the client to that part, and then we create our chat loop with our client that we're already running also in the same command. So I'm just going to go and copy, since I've already built it, I'm just going to go and copy the pwd to the index.js that I had before. Yeah, I can actually just copy what I have in that. Oh, did I already close that tab? I think I already closed it. So let me just pwd this, and then I'll just do /build /index.js /build /index.js. So MCP client has started, and it was able to get MCP client started and was able to get the tools that we have in our MCP server. So you can say, so it's asking us to type a query. It can be like, hey there. So it's run as like a simple shell script. And we're like, hello, I'm here to help you with weather related information. I can get weather alerts for a specific US state using a 2-letter state code. I can get weather forecast also. What would you like to know about? I would like to know what the weather is like in Miami, Florida. I can say Miami also. So we typed in that command. So I'm guessing this is the part where it actually makes all those. Oh yeah, it makes all those calls, like you query the tool and use the LLM, pass the response back to the LLM to sort of process it, and then it tells us here calling to get forecast, because that's the one you used to get weather, right? So based on the forecast, here is summary of Miami's weather. Currently temperature is wind is coming from this at 12 miles per hour. So next few days, temperatures remain fairly consistent. There's a higher chance. So we're showing typical tropical tropical climate pattern with warm temperatures, chance of thunderstorm, and constant south east or east winds. So this is like really cool. And we're like running this like as a simple shell application right from our terminal to sort of interact with our MCP server. So this opens up possibilities because what this means is that you can actually use sort of the entire logic that you've written here to create like a MCP client for a different use case with say a simple shell application, or maybe build a shell that you put into a CLI somewhere that people can easily just set up and run on their machines or something like that, and it will be interacting with like an MCP server, maybe somewhere locally that they've, or maybe you just add everything inside the one same shell application that they install on their machines, and whenever they run it, it runs the client and the server together, and they just have to pass in like an API key or something. Or if you use something like Gaia for inferencing, where you don't have to do that, everything just works together as one. So this is really cool and really fun to see, honestly. So yeah, honestly, yeah, I actually did learn a lot from this stream because um and one of the things I was looking forward to actually is building like an MCP client, because I've actually done a lot of had a lot of fun in the past few days, weeks, months exploring MCP servers to see how that works. And I mostly always just tested them with like a simple already made host or client that I just used it. But it's really fun to like now build rather like an MCP client that you actually set up yourself and put together, and then you're able to see how the communication layer sort of works. It's very similar to how you would put together like your own AI agent or something. Um, Sort of interact with that layer of calling a tool, passing the tool back to the LLM, and the LLM being able to interpret it and return the responses back in a readable form, and process that information. So yeah, this is like really fun to see, and yeah, definitely. Uh, it was definitely cool and W stream. I'll push all this code to GitHub. Maybe write a blog about it. And stuff. And yeah, watch out for my MCP agents are coming out soon on Gaia. So I essentially just built an agent that I trained on the entire documentation of MCP, the protocol, this SDK for TypeScript and Python, and it knows a lot about MCP. So you can maybe use it like your own course or something to help you figure out MCP code. So, or you can just ask it MCP questions. I'll definitely tweet about it when it goes live, so everybody can go and try it out and use it, and play with it. So yeah, thank you all for coming to this stream episode, and for being here. Definitely appreciate you all. Emmanuel will be here to say goodbyes for network stuff, and yeah, um, yeah. All right, thank you all for being here, and I appreciate you all for coming here to watch us build and learn. So this was definitely a all natural and live. We haven't practiced this before. We just came on stream and was reading we read through the docs, and we sort of let the natural dev sort of vibe flow, and build stuff out. Thank you all for being here and watching us go through the process of debugging, figuring stuff out, thinking, saying maybe stupid stuff at times. But catch you all in the next stream, same places, same time, next week. And yeah, definitely go try and enjoy your weekend and touch some grass. Don't be like us. All right, bye.